Playing modally can be a really interesting sound, especially modal interchange inside key centers. So let's go. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Alex. I'm a guitarist based here in the UK. And on this channel, I upload weekly videos that discuss guitar chops, guitar techniques, all the good stuff. And if you haven't already, subscribe to stay tuned for more. So today we are talking about playing modally, especially using a concept called modal interchange. If you're unfamiliar with modal interchange, it's basically the concept of going between one key center to another key center, one mode to another mode that are closely related to each other, okay? Not always, but on the whole, the two modes that you interchange between, okay, have similarities, okay? So that's a really basic definition of modal interchange. Today, I am showing you a chord progression that goes from A major to C major. Okay, these chords don't belong in the same key, but they are closely related. So, let's get into it. So first things first, I think it's really good to understand where I'm coming from a theoretical perspective. Okay, so let's have a cheeky look at this whiteboard. I have written out the chord progression. It's just a loop, okay, and I've written out my two modes that I'm using to outline my sounds. Okay, so over an A chord, I'm going to use the A mixolydian scale. Okay, an A mixolydian scale derives from a D major scale. Okay, and over the C, I am going to use a C Lydian scale. Okay, and a C Lydian scale derives from a G major scale. Okay, so if we look from D major and G major, these are keys that are right next to each other in the circle of fifths, okay? And when the keys are next to each other in the circle of fifths, that means it's very easy for us to interchange between those two key centers, okay? In this case, we are interchanging modally, but you don't always have to interchange modally. So as you can see, between these two scales, there is only one note that is different, and it's this C sharp, which happens to be the third of A. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and it's sharp. It's a major third. Okay, but in this key of C, it is a natural third. Okay, so if I was to put a C natural here, that would make this A sound minor, a flatted third. This is very important, and I will come back to this in a moment. Okay, so the first concept I am using to play over these two chords is pentatonic scales, okay? I think I always try and relate everything to the pentatonic scale. It's a very musical scale. It's a very easy scale to use. It's full of licks we already know. So the essential essence of this is playing an A major pentatonic when we hit the A major chord, and playing an A minor pentatonic when we hit the C chord. Okay, the reason for playing an A minor pentatonic over the C chord is because the relative minor of C is A minor. Okay, so you can play an A minor pentatonic over this C. Okay, so when we are looking at modal interchange or changing between key centers, we are always looking for similarities and making the switch and the transition between the two key centers, the two modes, as simple and as little as possible. So simply changing between a major pentatonic to a minor pentatonic is a very common thing to do. You hear it in the blues all the time. They switch from major to minor pentatonics all the time. But in this scenario, it's a little bit more obvious, as I am literally going from playing A major pentatonic licks to playing A minor pentatonic licks. So that sounds a bit like this. Okay, so the next way I am outlining this sort of sound is actually using the modes. So when I'm playing over the A, I'm going to play an A mixolydian mode. And when I play over the C, I'm going to play a C Lydian mode starting from this A note here, okay, which actually sounds like this. If you're familiar with modes already, you will know that that is actually an A dorian mode as well, okay? But if I'm playing an A dorian mode over C, it will imply a Lydian sound, okay? And that's a really huge tip here. When looking at the modes, it can get very confusing, okay? Because you look at the modes and you think, well, it's all the same notes, so how does it make it different, okay? It's where you land in the mode that makes it sound different, okay? And each mode has a different flavour, a different emotion attached to it, okay? All these sort of concepts. So like I always say on this channel, always use your ear. Try and look at the modes as moods, emotions, colours, okay? That way you will really open up the possibility of modes. Okay, and you'll also open up the musical possibility of modes. So, these two modes slotted over the top of each other should sound like this. Okay, and as promised, coming back to all that spiel I had at the start about the C natural and the C sharp. Okay, in and around this shape, we have a C sharp here. And we have a C natural here. Okay, so I am sort of trying to target those notes in my solo, okay? I've took a very simple bit of information there, just two notes, but they're really going to outline my chord changes. I've also got those two notes here, okay? So you can find all these little patterns with inside the pentatonic scales all over the neck, and I suggest you do so, okay? So whenever I hear the A major, I like to target this C sharp. And then whenever I hear the C major, I like to target the C, okay? It just makes sense, and it makes the soloing concept strong, okay? So this sounds like this. Okay guys, so a bit of a different lesson today, okay? Probably a lot of information thrown at you. If I was to say anything, study the circle of fifths. Get your head around the circle of fifths. Try and actually learn it so you can recite the circle of fifths. That really helps with this sort of thing, okay? Also, learn your modes really well. Learn your pentatonic shapes really well. The better you know these shapes on the fretboard, the easier it is to make music with them. Make music with them, okay? That is the key here. When I put on a backing track like this, my first instinct is music, okay? And my second is, how can I, make these sounds really strong, okay, and really pop out. And that's when sort of the theoretical side of things comes into play a little bit, and I use the theory to create music. So, hope you enjoyed it, okay? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, I will be back next week to help you transform your playing. If you enjoyed that, please consider watching this video right here. Thanks again.